The Stoics had a word for the quality that separates a life well lived from a life merely survived. Virtue. Arete. The full expression of human excellence. And they were unambiguous about this. Virtue is not something you reserve for the grand moments. It is how you show up in the ordinary ones, in the conversations, in the commitments, in the moments when the easier path is silence and the harder path is truth. Today I want to talk about a specific form of cowardice that almost no one names. The kind that doesn't involve danger or violence. Just people who are too afraid of discomfort to be honest with others. Epictetus opens the Enchiridion with the most important distinction in all of philosophy. Some things are in our power, and some things are not. What is in your power? Your judgments, your intentions, your words, your actions. What is not? How others feel, what they do, whether they stay or leave. Most people apply this framework selfishly. They use it to say, I can't control how you feel, so I have no obligation to be careful with you. That is a fundamental misreading of Stoic ethics. The Stoic point is not that your actions have no consequences. The Stoic point is that your character, your choices, your words, your honesty is entirely yours to govern. And governing it well is not optional. It is the work. When you enter someone's emotional world, you make an implicit claim about who you are. Every interaction is a declaration of character. When you disappear, when you go silent, when you block instead of speak, you are also making a declaration. And you don't get to opt out of what it says about you. Seneca wrote extensively about what we owe each other. Not in a legal sense, but in the sense of what it means to be a person of integrity, moving through a world full of other people who are doing their best. He was blunt. The person who leads another to hope and then abandons them without explanation has done them a kind of violence. Not the violence of a blow, the violence of a betrayal, of a promise implied and never kept. We don't think of silence as violence, but Seneca would disagree. To take someone's openness, their trust, their hope, and respond to it with nothing is to use them as an object of your own comfort. You needed something from the interaction. You took it. And when the cost of completion arrived, you simply left. That is not freedom. That is the behavior of someone who has never interrogated their own convenience. Someone who has never asked, what do I actually owe the people I let into my life? The Stoic answer? You owe them the truth, even when the truth is inconvenient, especially then. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations as private notes to himself, not a manifesto, a daily reckoning. And what he returned to again and again was this: do the right thing, even when no one is watching, even when the wrong thing is easier, even when the cost of honesty is discomfort or conflict or being disliked. In the emotional sphere, courage looks like this: saying, I'm not able to give you what you're looking for, instead of going silent and hoping the person figures it out. Saying, I made a mistake in how I handled this, instead of rewriting the story to make yourself the passive party. Saying, I need to step back, instead of disappearing and leaving someone to wonder what they did wrong. None of these conversations are easy. All of them are acts of virtue. Marcus would recognize them immediately. He called this doing what the situation requires without flinching from it. The reason most people don't have these conversations is not that they don't know how. It is that they are afraid. Afraid of conflict. Afraid of being the bad guy. Afraid of the other person's pain. But that fear is yours to manage, not theirs to absorb. Let's be precise about what ghosting actually is, philosophically. It is the decision to prioritize your own discomfort over another person's need for clarity. It is the elevation of convenience above virtue. It is the choice, made again and again in small moments of avoidance, to be less than what you are capable of being. Epictetus was enslaved for much of his life. He understood better than most what it means to have someone treat you as if your inner world doesn't matter, as if your humanity is conditional on whether it's convenient for them. Ghosting says, "Your need to understand what happened is not my responsibility. Your pain at being left without explanation is not something I need to consider. You exist in my story only as long as it benefits me." That is not Stoic. That is not virtuous. And it is not, despite what modern culture might tell you, just how things are now. Things are how people decide to make them, and you get to decide differently. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." To that I would add, if you cannot stay, say so. If you cannot give what someone is hoping for, say so. If you made a mess, own it. The Stoics didn't ask for perfection. They asked for effort. The daily, unglamorous effort to be a person of integrity. In the small moments, the uncomfortable conversations, the places where it would be so much easier to just disappear. You deserve people in your life who show up with that kind of honesty. And someone out there deserves it from you. Save this if silence ever cost you more than a hard conversation would have. And share it with someone who needs the reminder.